All right, so I thought I'd bring you guys in on a build here. I got it pretty much the state where it's kind of set up and I think it's going to work. So I thought I'd bring you guys in and do a little bit of a build video here. So what I'm trying to make is a tilt wing twin jet engine VTOL here. And so it has the wings of my cap airplane, a little bit modified. It's essentially this end section is. It also has the engines from the cap air jet, new cockpit or new shaped cockpit on here. It pretty much has the cap air jet or the cap air controls in there. Pretty large inside. As you can see, you can hold at least one container. We'll probably end up holding two. I might shrink it down a little bit. I'm not sure yet. But that's kind of what we're looking at here. So this is kind of pretty well set up here. We have tail. Some of the gear is in already. This is gear off my old VTOL. So thought I'd bring you in once I get a little bit, once I get a little bit worked on here. And so we're kind of to that level. So right now I kind of want to fix the wing angle a little bit here, so let's do that. So I'm kind of looking at it, looking a little funky right here, so I think that is the extent of it there. Yep. All right, and so there, and then I want to cut that, and I want to drag it up to kind of match the curve of the wing a little bit better. Thinking there, maybe, I don't know. It's never going to be perfect because the engine nacelle, the way the engine nacelle is, I'm trying to decide, that looks a little bit too off. That looks a little bit better. So let's do that. I need to move the backside too. So a bunch of work to be done on this, of course, but it's, a good start, I think. So we're going to bring you guys along. I tend to like to get things working a little bit to make sure they're going to function. Like I had a bunch of cockpit work that I was doing that was just taking a while. So most of it was just fishing around, trying to get cockpit angles correct. And then now that I kind of have the cockpit angles set up correctly in the way that I want them, now I can kind of bring you guys in and see from there. So it's going to be a little bit complex getting this built up. The systems are going to be interesting to integrate. It's going to have a rotating tail for loading and unloading. I'm not going with a ramp. A ramp is just, because of the size of the blocks in game, I have to make too many compromises. So this tail is going to rotate out. Still a little bit of dressing here and there to kind of do, to kind of smooth this out, but making good progress on this. So let's go ahead and integrate the wings a little bit here. And so what I kind of want to do here is let's grab 2x4 pyramid here. Let's make sure symmetry's on. Get these wings integrated. So this is going to be interesting. VTOL jets can be quite interesting to get up and running properly. So kind of interested in kind of the systems that I'm going to have to implement to get this to control right. But I should be able to do it. Shouldn't have a problem with it. All right, so let's get these wings integrated here. Perfect, that's end up being 4 block. Actually, I may have measured and not realized it. All right, and so we're going to integrate the wings here into the design. And so I'm just kind of counting here. I need to make sure the counts are right here. So what's that? That is 6. So it needs to be at least 8. All right, so that's that. There we go. Yep, kind of screwed myself up with putting this here. Should have foreseen that and fixed it. Have a cat impeding on work here, so he's done a good job today of slowing me down at every opportunity. So that there is going to need to be a 1x4. See if the cat will leave me alone long enough to do this. Appears not. He's already in a mood. He's already bugging. All right, so that's kind of set up there. All right, so this is gonna be fun. little bit another way to get containers and just general fun. I've been trying to come up with some new stuff for career build series, so this will be nice to kind of get this in there. So I'm trying to decide if or how I want to integrate this. This is going to be interesting to try to integrate. Let me try something, see if I can get it to work the way I want it to. Again, we could always use more parts. The devs were talking about doing some backlog stuff. Parts are always a big yes please for me. I'm always a huge fan of more parts, so be nice to see some more parts in here. That would just help with building in general. And so you often see in these types of jets, these high wings, they have kind of a bulge in the roof here to allow for some more structural elements. Okay, there you go. Go there. And so we're going to do the same. We're going to kind of bulge this out here a little bit. See if the cat will give me enough space to actually operate my keyboard. All right, so that's kind of in there. Let's go ahead and grab 4x pyramids. And so the nose took a bunch of time, as it usually does. I don't tend to do a bunch of XML editing for parts, and I do none for Windows. I want them integrated in the game. I'm not interested in really XML in them. So of course, I could come up with better angles if I XML them, but I'm not interested in doing a ton of XML every time I want to build something. Tend to keep it a little bit more on the reserve side on that. It's just, I don't like the fog glass on XML. I'm not interested in that. So kind of working with the default shapes that we have here is kind of my preference. Yeah, you can make some stuff look really great with XML, but it's just, I'm not really all that interested in it. There's certain things that I'll XML, mostly performance, a little bit here and there, but mostly performance type stuff that I do that, I like realism, and so tend to I'll do some XML if I need something to be a little bit more realistic than it is. So kind of like this hump. This hump is kind of nice to get it. Adds a point of interest there. It's a little bit symmetrical. I might move the hump forward a little bit. I think that's what I'm going to do, is end up moving the hump forward a little bit. It looks too symmetrical there. Or just extend it. It could be symmetrical, but extend it a little bit. But it's not bad. I would want to extend it a little bit. So yeah, that's the point of integration there. Just looks overly tall as well. Let's just cut out the center section, see what it looks like now. Height-wise, that's a little bit better. Let's try this for now, and then later I can always come back to this. I'm trying not to spend too much time on one part at a time, because I have a lot of technical stuff to get working on this. Tons of technical elements on this build. And so if I waste too much time designing, I can always go back and change some of those shapes. So here's my cockpit. Cockpit's coming out pretty well. I have plenty of headspace for overhead gauges. Let's see if I can thin this a little bit. I should be able to. Yeah, I can definitely thin this a little bit. So I will cut that in a little bit more. It doesn't need to be twos. It can be these ones, and that will allow me to get this set up a little bit quicker. Like that. There we go. That's better. Just helps me, gives me a little more headroom in here. Can I cut even more? I probably, that right there is what's causing me, so I can't cut it in earlier. All right, so that's fine. That feels pretty good. This is going to give me ample room for nose wheel, for nose gear. I pulled the mains off of my other VTOL. It's kind of an old VTOL that I built. The issue we're having right now is I want this to be able to do both vertical takeoffs and have a standard takeoff. And the issue currently is looking at see it now. It's I can't move it at all, so that's always an issue. I want the gear a little bit longer. As you can see, this is in prime category, as a prime candidate for tail strike. I could try to cut some out here to cut the tail down. Again, it's going to be a rotating tail just because our parts are so enormous in game. I can't get as thin of angles as I would like, so I'm going to go ahead and we'll stilt up these gear just a hair. We'll go 1 block probably on the stilt. Crap, am I at max height? I might be at max height. I have to double check. This is the issue with, the workbenches as they're set up. Yeah, see, I'm at max height, so I can't there. Let's see. Let's see if we can't trim the tail a little bit. If I could trim the tail just a hair, I think will help the cause. So let's see if I can cut out this line here. That should be fine because this is the door. So if I can cut a new tail plane, this will also thin it out. I think this will look a little bit better, and it will reduce my chance of tail strike. So again, I try to get all these functional elements kind of decided early. That way I know what's going to cause me problems, and I try to get after them a little bit early. You hold off on these elements, especially, go to rotate your first time after you built the craft and you're all the way up to takeoff, and you realize, oh, I'm going to hit the tail, and then I try to leave myself a little bit of space with the work zone, but this workbench is this is at max size, lengthwise, height-wise, and width-wise, so this is in all parameters at max, and so I'm not doing a XML edited workbench at all, not going to do it, and so I have to kind of keep that in mind. All right, so that's going to end there, and then I need to mate that. So maybe 1x2s here to get that to come up right. Nope. Let me see. I have to look at the back side of this. So that's a 1x4. So 1x4, it has to be a 4 to get that up. So that there is kind of a pain. I can't really go more. I have a little bit of play space there, not a ton, because the way they made it, I need these 2 blocks for the grippers. Do I have 3 there? I do. Okay, so those are sitting on there. Trying to kind of figure what I can do here, cutting this angle out. So that can probably go to a 2x2. Let me see if I can recut this angle here. I'm just checking on the tail strike probabilities here. So I need to think about this tail strike. So I've helped it a little bit. I just have to be cognizant of a tail strike. So I'll probably put a tail strike protection on there. I tend to put a little bit of sacrificial metal or something that's going to absorb a hit if you do tail strike. They had something when I was at training at the American Airlines building. They had it was like a pole with a bunch of horseshoes on it, and it was it's not the right colors. I have this connected here, so I need to cut all this out. They had a little pole with some horseshoes on it, and it showed at rotation where how close the tails were to the ground, and you're talking inches from the ground. And so when you have them that close to hitting the ground, you have to be very careful of a tail strike. A tail strike's not devastating by any sense of imagination, but it does put the plane out of commission, and so you've just taken that plane out of service for the rest of the day by doing a tail strike. So it's no bueno. In game, of course, if you have damage on, everything tends to explode, so you hit the tail a little bit gingerly, you're gonna be you're gonna have an explosion in game. All right, so that's better, and then I'll be able to cut this tail. This is kind of weird back here. I'm kind of working on this shaping of this here to kind of make this a little bit better. I did it again. I did it again. Okay. Being very obnoxious, this is. All right, let's see if I can't get this. See, the problem is this has to attach. So let's just do this. It's just easier for me to grab here. It's tough to grab the other way. Let's do this. let's do it like this. I was gonna just cut it, but I think I'll just put this piece first. I keep screwing it up, so. All right, that goes there, and then this will go on there. And so this gives me a little bit better of an angle for avoiding a tail strike. You know, I would just raise the gear by one, but then I run into other issues and I'd have to shrink it and everything else. So I don't want to go into that much effort for it. It's just, and I don't do, have no interest in doing a XML editor workbench. It's just too great of a chance that something gets changed or screwed up. You know, they've taken out a lot of the XML editor workbenches working, and so it's just not worth it to me to screw around with that. Just really isn't. You know, I'm all for mods when there's full mod support by the developers. When there's no mod support, I'm not interested. Like Kerbal, I love doing mods for Kerbal. I don't do mods for this, despite how good some of them are, because it's just there's just such a good chance that they'll screw something and completely change it, and then you rely on all the mod makers to go update their stuff, and if they're busy, you don't get your favorite mods in, and then the community kind of trails off because, you know, for a lot of people, they kind of rely on those mods to enjoy the game. And so I don't want to get into that. You know, if there's full mod support, it really helps. It would be nice if the developers would do that. So see, right here is where I end up lowering it again. So let's not do that. Let's go ahead and we'll have to cut across with wedges here already, because I don't want to raise that. Did I click on the wedge or not? I don't want to. I don't want to have that tail too close to the ground. So we might. I could square this off and go with a ramp. See, the problem is. See, the problem is the height. I need the ramp to come all the way up to this set of blocks here. So all the way up here if I'm going to have it. So I would need to come all the way up to about here, I think. I wonder if it's doable. The ramps can be a pain in game to get set up right. We're almost there, though, where I can do it. Let me see if I can get a ramp to function for me. If I can get the ramp to function, I won't do the turning tail. Especially with in-game, you need a tail stand. So they use tail stands for cargo aircraft. You know, I'll show you in a second where your gear position is in relation to your center of gravity. And so you want your center of gravity just ahead of your center of rotation. So your center of rotation's right, you know, when you're rotating, it'll be your back wheel. And so you want it just ahead of it so that it's pretty easy for you to rotate, because you'd need so much force off of your tailplane. And so that helps it, you know, to have that. And so I have to be careful of that while I'm doing this. All right, so where do I need to get to? So I need to get to the height of the container. So pretty much, where are we at here? So theoretically up to here. Let me put a cut in there, and then that will kind of tell me. So that's high. Yeah, see, that's the issue, is I would need the ramp to go all the way up there to make this kind of work for me. Kind of have a cool thinned out tail there. I'm kind of digging it, but I don't know. I don't know if I would want a ramp. I kind of like this rotating tail. I'll show you the rotating tail. Like, I have some issues here that I need to fix, but yeah, I kind of dig the rotating tail. Let me kind of stick with that for now, and then, you know, I have plenty of builds where I've gone through different iterations to get them. Oh, come on. Hitting the wrong keys here. All right, so let's go ahead and I'll show you the rotating tail. So I need to put a controller back on it, but And that's going to go there, and then we don't want it too fast. All right, so it's just going to have a rotating tail on there. That's kind of my preference. Gear's collapsing because I don't have the locks established, because I don't have electricity, infinite electricity on. Oh, Christ's sake. Let's get the settings set up the way I want them. Player damage is off. Vehicle damage is off. Infinite electricity is on. Again, we're early stages with this build, so let's not screw with it too much here. Let the gear collapse. All right, you're going to be a pain in the ass the whole time. All right. Symmetry. All right, so let's put it on jack stands. That's going to be an easy way to fix that. Generally what I do, but I thought it would kind of maybe behave. See, that's not merged. That's all it was. I didn't merge the other gear. That's why it's misbehaving. So it has a rotating tail. So I've kind of so one of the reasons I'm doing this is because this is all the blocks are so thick. I would have to really I'd have to thicken that ramp up at least doubly thick, probably 3 blocks thick. So it's almost a whole meter thick, and in real life things are super thin. So by doing it this way, it makes it just super duper easy to load. I could drive right up to it. Don't have to worry about head clearance. We can come right up and load it, like the Guppy loaded this way. So that's kind of what I think I'm aiming for. I have to worry about the ramp mechanism here, and so I'm thinking, at least for now, do that rotating tail. Let's get this gear. Merged. That will help. So I put a helper block on the other side too, but I merged one side and forgot the other. All right. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards now. We're also going to be doing stall takeoffs, short takeoff and landing. And so let me show you their wing rotation as well. So the wing is going to rotate, and so it's going to be able to do, it's a tilt wing. There are benefits to tilt wing over tilt rotor. Tilt rotors, I forget what the benefits of the tilt rotor are, but the tilt wing benefits are, you're blowing a lot of the thrust, not in this case, but like if you're using propellers, you'd be blowing a lot of thrust on top of the wing, and so you lose all that thrust. You don't lose any of your benefit by doing a tilt wing like this. So I should probably also put some sort of integration here for the wing, so I need to kind of match that up. So I'd have to see what that looks like, but it's looking pretty good. The hump's not bothering me. Good size. Curious about the power of those turbines. We'll have to see on those. I was also at one point, I was thinking doing 4 jet engines, doing 2 here and 2 in the back. Don't think I'm going to do that, but the fuselage is kind of open to that option. That's looking pretty good, I think. All right, so let's get the wing integration going here. So I need to kind of figure this out. So let's see. So I need to measure from here all the way up to the end right there. That is 13. So I need to go 13 this way. And so I'm just going to count because it won't let me dump this where I want it. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. So it's 4 off the block here. Okay, let me do it. Okay, that's 4 off the block there. And then what I'm going to do is just go like this. Copy that. And I'll stick this down here, and then I'll just integrate it right in there. So let me check, make sure that this is where this is going to rotate. So that rotates. Which section is this on? That's on the bottom plane. Okay, so that's the bottom plane. So it should be up one like that. All right, and so let's integrate this wing better. That will also help smooth out the hump a little bit, I think. All right, and so let's grab, so we want to go in here. So let's cut there and there. Okay, so cut there. So this one is downward facing. I can't see. Downward facing, I think, like that. Let me see. All right. I'm just kind of eyeballing this here for right now. I can always cut this and move it here in a second. All right, so I think we'll go one like that, and then I'll fix that angle in a second on the bottom. I'm going to get the top done first. So this will kind of reset my angle for the hump. This won't let me drag it properly up, which is frustrating. All right, we get one I can snatch here right there. Okay. And so this will help me integrate the hump here to where I want it. Just going to cut out a bunch of this so that I can easily drag it without having issues. Of course, that's going to get detached and stuck on the body here. That other side's going to get erased. Right, so that's the integration for here. And I need to do the top integration. And that is going to be like this. All right, and that will extend the hump to make it look a little bit better anyway. And this will just be square blocks in there. Now that looks good. All right, so that's that so far. And that gets cut all the way back there. All right, so this is integrating nicely here. It won't let me drag forward because it's a different body. I need to cut it already so I can screw with it better. All right, so let's cut this and get it joined up. So that's going to work right there. So let's go ahead and, oh, come on, cut, dude, cut. Just being careful because I keep accidentally cutting pieces somewhere I don't want to cut them. So I'm just being a little bit cautious on that. And I'll integrate this down section here in a minute. All right. I should be able to grab all of this and reconnect it all. All right, so that's now all part of the main body. All right, that's all part of the main body now. Good. All right, so that's going to go to there. That's going to go up. The camera is being really obnoxious. I don't know what it is. I think I might have accidentally put my controls to default and had something I switched off because it's like it's being controlled with the mouse now. It's absolutely obnoxious. It like flicks my camera now when I'm in the editor, so it's constantly doing it. It's quite obnoxious. It's something with my mouse that's doing it, so I probably changed a setting that I now regret that was changed, so always flicking the camera. It's quite annoying. So let's get this reintegrated here. All right, so let's start cutting this in better. So I want a 1x2. See how this looks. That's a little bit funky in here. Could just carry it down, I think, would be better. Yeah, like all this business is funky. Let's try this. The problem is it's inverted there because of the bottom part. Oh my god, the camera's doing it again. It's quite obnoxious, it really is. Alright, good, and that's where my 2x goes in. Alright, that fits in there nicely now. Good, so that's kind of integrated. Yep, that's better. Alright, so that's going to look good there. I want to test the wing and pull it again and see how it looks. And so I want to see how the back of the wing looks here before I finish that section. So let's go ahead and check how the angle looks. Mates up to the wing. Looking a little bit weird and sharp right there, so I have to check on that. I just have the wing set to really low sensitivity so that it's not jerking it and jiving it like crazy. Alright, so am I just off the whole way here? Let's see what's up. So I must have measured this incorrectly. Yeah, measured it incorrectly. Oh, what the hell? Let's see. So kind of screwed this all up here. What's going on there? So right here should start smoothing. Alright, gotta keep that in mind. So I'm trying to cut here. So I'm going to do this for counting reasons. This should make it a little bit easier here. So I'm going to go one end of the point of pivot right there, and I'm just going to alternate. Oh, come on, man. Alternate so I can count blocks. Like that. And let's measure it this way. It's going to help with figuring out where I'm at, because that's looking fugly. And my ground access port's hanging there. I'll get fixed later. All right, so that is set. So this is at what? 1, 2, 3. Oh, count whites. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's at 6 whites. Oh my god, the camera flick is just driving me nuts. I really hate it. Something fierce. It is just so miserable, that camera flick. All right, we're at 6 whites here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whites. All right, so that's where that is going to settle. So, how the hell did I get that so wrong? I don't know. Right, so I'm trying to figure out how to fix this. It doesn't need this at all. That's kind of just nonsense. Let's see how that looks. All right, that's not bad. And I need to check the back, see how the back's integrating. So the back is not bad. The back looks fine, actually, so I'm all right with that. Because that's going to go straight to... Try to see how I have this here. I have the lights off because everything's super reflective if it's light colored. So I'll finish the wing top there. It's not finished on the back here. So yeah, I have doubles on that. So I'll double this up here like so. And I'm just going to increase the speed on this so I can test it a little bit quicker. It should be triply fast. All right, let's check it and see how it looks. I'm digging it. It's sets up nicely here. So let's see. I want one, so it's 2 blocks there. Let's see if I can smooth this a little bit better. So it's, yeah, so I kind of want to move, oh Christ, move this forward 2 blocks. I have to be careful because I have the pivots there, so I can't do certain things, but I should be able to make this move and have it work. All right, let's set this up here. So this should work all right for me, theoretically. And this gives me space. See, I can't do this. This isn't going to work. I know I did that for a reason, so I'm going to have to cut into the, if I do that, I'm cutting into the, I end up cutting into the pivot that turns the wings. So that's not going to work. So that's fine. It's a tiny bit of an eyesore, but it's really not bad at all. And let's go up one more on this hump and see if I like it or if I hate it. And so I'm hoping this isn't going to be too much of a pain for setting up to make it fly well. You know, I've kind of almost, I'm making it so that this will also function as a regular aircraft, without VTOL capabilities if I so choose, you know. So I kind of, I planned it so that if I can't get the functionality I want, which, I shouldn't have a problem doing, I can even turn it a turboprop because that will be easier. But hopefully it will be good. All right, so let's go ahead and let's fix this paint here. All right, so that's the wing integration area. That's pretty good there. Let's work on the tail shaping just a hair. I am thinking that I'm keeping this as a... I do think I'm going to keep this as a side rotating tail. I don't really want to go into a ramp, I don't think. I have ramp vehicles. I'm kind of, I try to do some different things, try to have some different styles and operations with how I set things up. So don't need it all to be ramps or whatnot. And ramps give me very little functionality. I can have an internal ramp. So like I have my Sky Tim, and I'll show you that in a second of how I have that set up. So I'm liking that. It looks good. And then this, Let's cut this in a different way and see if I like it better or if not. Yeah, I think I'm going to dig this better like this. Yeah, that's looking better there. All right, so again, functionality is always king for me. Something that looks beautiful that doesn't function for me, I see very little reason for. I want, at the end of the day, I want something that functions. That's the number one concern for me, is to make sure it works. And if it doesn't work, I'm not interested. And so things like having that side moving tail. And so one of the reasons is I would have to, at the very least, this would have to be the floor of it. So I have to put in blocks here. 1x1's there. This here would all be an absolute disaster. I might have the head clearance to slide it out. Let me test a ramp. I'll save up and let's test a ramp. If I can get the ramp to function the way I want, I'll go with a ramp. If not, so what I did with the SkyTim was it actually has ramps that slide on the tracks, and then it stows in the tail so that you slide the ramp section, it sits on the tail, and then as the tail opens, it stays with the tail, so you can unload containers. When you unload a vehicle, you leave the ramp section attached to the rails, and then it goes out. So I'm trying to think where we'd have to cut this. So this would be the ramp here. Okay, so that'll be the end of the ramp right there, which makes sense. And then, so let me do a quick measurement. So container is about 11. So it's sitting on its wheels. That would work. A ramp would work. Check the width. All right, so the width would have to be here. And so what that would mean is I have to, let me cut this first real quick. So that would work there. Let me try something and see if I can make a ramp, if I can justify a ramp. Take a little bit of work here, but I did save it to see if a ramp will work for me. Okay. So we're going to want, see, we lose the ability to slide it in the ramp because of where the grippers are. The grippers have to be here. This would have to be one wider for the grippers to work on a ramp. So we lose that functionality altogether, the ability to hook up grippers. And so that makes it so I can't slide it on and off the ramp. That pretty much kills the functionality for me. Let's not bother with a ramp. I'm not going to like its performance. I'd have to go one wider to get a ramp to work for me because all the parts are so oversized. I can make it side swipe tail, and that would actually function better, I think. So let's stick with this for now. All right, so let's try to start filling out the interior here a little bit, kind of getting the shape, to understand the shape a little bit better. And so I'm going to cut out what I don't need here, like these. I don't need. Oh, that I do need. Okay, so this is the kind of that section. Okay, and then this comes in here, and then that's the end of where I can cut out. So right there. All right, so let's start putting in the interior facets, and that will kind of help me set this up in here. Okay. And then I probably want to, I'll figure this angle out here. I don't know if I want to do a 4 there, but let's go to there. And then I'm going 1 by wedges here. And again, we'll stick to there to see what I have to do on the other side. This is going to go all the way to the front, like so, and we'll figure out what to do there. So let's leave a 4 gap there. And then these here can keep going forward. And so this has a pretty expansive cargo area here. I don't know if I want to artificially chop this to make this smaller or not. I was kind of thinking I wanted one container, but proportionally this looks nice. I like the proportions of this, and so I could always slide the cockpit back later if I wanted and do multiple versions. Let's finish out the deck as well while we're here. So kind of want that's one container there. And so let's see where a second container would fit for us. So I kind of want a two gap, that way I can walk between them. And then we talk 29 blocks. Okay, and then I want like an entrance door and seating in here. So kind of a cargo and kind of a crew area. So that actually works out pretty well there. So that'll work. And then put grippers in here. Again, a lot of people put the track segments where you can't hook a container to them. Track segments need to hook to a gripper. So I wish it was the other way around. The devs could have easily done that when they built the containers, but they didn't. I would like to see them do some like air cans. The smaller containers that aircraft hold. These containers are kind of half containers of, real 53 intermodals, but it would be nice to see them do some air cans and have some air transpo missions. Some of the air stuff is a little bit lacking. There's not much to do with aircraft. It would be nice to have kind of an aircraft pass where we had more stuff to do with aircraft. All right, so that's going to be where that ends up, and then let's go 3 blocks and the wall. Okay, and that will go there. And then that'll leave me my 4 blocks in case I need to do a 4 something for joining. All right, that works pretty well. All right, so there's a bulkhead right there. And then, so I kind of need to join this up. So let's see what I can do here. So I'm trying to decide how I want to finish this off up here. Just try 1 by pyramids. That will kind of hopefully make this a little bit smaller. And that's that 4 there. That's going to screw me up right here. That's too close to the bulkhead wall. I can cut that, can I? I can. Okay, good. So that cuts, and then that, I can't cut that at all. Okay. So probably going to go 2 by 4s here, which is what this is. So maybe like that. See, I don't like that though for the squares the window a little bit. It's not terrible to square the window that much. What I can do is go in with 2s here. Do some wedges, 2 wedges here. All right, so that's better, I think. And then, can I fit a 2 in there? It might be a problem. So, yeah, see, that has to go to a 1. That's fine. And we'll put a 1 in there. That'll be our transition to the 1s here. All right, and then that will be a wedge and kind of a void. That'll be, I still want to go up on these, so gotta see what I mean. It's a little bit hard to explain it. All right, that goes there. That's and this will be, trying to think the best way to hook that. That can go wedges across because this is going to be essentially hidden. And like that. All right, so just trying to think of how to integrate this properly. Yeah, we have a lot of headspace back here in the crew area. The crew area is going to be, there'll be a bulkhead here to get up into the cockpit, and then it can have a lower crew area, so it's okay if we lose the headroom. So this will go like that. That area kind of screws me up here, though. Oh, come on, man. Doing camera flick again. See, like I already have the headspace in the cockpit. This is the lowest I want the ceiling. So let me see if I can't just simplify this out a little bit here and cut the roof line down. So let's go like this. Cut the roof line there. So I'm trying to simplify this. We'll get a void in there, which is good for hiding stuff. All right, so this I think is coming along a little bit better now. I think this will work out. Yeah, this should work out nicely. That's a little bit donkey, but we'll go like that, I think. To kind of integrate into the cockpit, because we'd have, this goes to 2s here, and so I'd have to cut that out weird. Could still try to fix it, but we'll see. I could redo that cockpit section, it's not a big deal. So that should be 2s in there, so grab this. And this is probably actually where the bulkhead wall is going to go, right there for the cockpit. So, but again, I just want to kind of get it generally shaped, and then I can play with it later. All right, so that looks pretty good. And then we have the main cargo area here. Whoa, I'm just flying through the walls. Sorry, guys. All right, so this I was doing 1x2s in here. And that bulkhead wall allows me to kind of change shapes and not have it visible. All right, what? Come on, the camera is just out of control. I should check my settings here at some point instead of just complaining about it, because it is quite obnoxious. What are you? Okay, that can be wedges. This, I think, can be cut out, most of it at this point. Make sure that's sealed up. That's good. All right, so I'm just trying to get rid of extraneous blocks, too, that I don't need. Like, okay. All right, and then, so I want to start cutting this in and trying to shape and make this look better in here. So I'm going to have to start working on that. It's kind of a hairy area back here. What I think I'm going to do is bulkhead here. So there'll be a bulkhead in the extreme tail, which often you'll have like avionics bays or something back there. So that will just bulkhead out. That will make it a hell of a lot easier to integrate. Because I can do a hard stop on it like this. That's going to be just a lot easier. And I don't have to worry about it. So I just kind of put a dead space in there. There we go. All right, so that's nice. That does the top section. Now I need to get this side integrated here. So we kind of have some ugliness here that I need to try to fix and figure out. So, and then I'll fix this angle here in a second. So that comes down like that. And then, okay, so that won't interfere with the operation of the cargo coming in and out. So that was the main concern, is make sure that doesn't interfere with the cargo. Actually, it will. That needs cut, and then this, because this is where my deck actually is right there. And then I'll do 1x2s here. All right, that. What are you? I was thinking it was a different piece than it was. There we go. Again, I would love more parts. More parts are always my favorite, so we can still walk around that container, and that's kind of the whole point of that. The hinge is fine. The hinge should still work, no problem. I need to do a hinge join part, which will probably be on the ceiling, I'm thinking, or under here on the base. Probably more likely on the base. So let's go ahead and put a floor on the container, on the tail side rather. Now let's fix this. That cuts out there, and then that goes like that. Yeah, it's, I've talked about this before, how it's like these little areas bother you, and then because you're right up against it and you're actually building it, and then once you get some perspective and once you've colored it and once you're actually doing stuff with it, it kind of doesn't bother you anymore because it kind of goes away. It's no longer an issue. It's like these little angles will annoy me, and then once I actually get it in game and working, it's like I really couldn't care less about how it is after that. It's just you never see it again. So it's that initial kind of shock of that doesn't look good, and then you get away from it, and you're like, yeah, I don't know why that bothered me so much before. It just doesn't bother me at all anymore. Especially the functionalities, like I said, is most important to me. So it's like if I get it functional, I don't really care about some of these little things. Like I can't even recall the areas that were driving me nuts when I was building like my Cap Air jet. I just don't remember them. It's like getting past it. See, like this is the issue we have with the game is the parts are just so enormous that it makes it hard to integrate. That's not terrible. And I have some voids in here. And this is why I tend to stay away from ramps a lot of the time. Is it's everything's just so thick. Like that's a meter thick, and like I started this video before and didn't care for it. So and I was talking about how like in real life I showed a picture of the guppy, and the guppy is like maybe 1 block thick. As thickest parts, and you can make nice flowing curves. If you want to curve with this, it can be a meter thick, and so it's really just pretty brutal trying to get things integrated, and it just doesn't look right. So it's kind of tough. All right, so that's good. That will tail will come out. Let's go ahead and we'll test it while we're here, and we'll finish up here in a second. So just kind of a little sneak peek of where I'm at on this. I think this is going to work better having it rotate. So right there will be the locking mechanism. Yeah, that looks good. See, like I hated it when you're in there, and like looking at it now, it looks good. I'm happy with it. Especially when that has some paint, it will stick out less. That looks good. That's, this is going to be so much easier to load and unload things. And so let me show you this guy, Tim. It was named after my brother. He wanted something named after him that was bulbous. So this is the Sky Tim, and so the Sky Tim was an early creation that it actually works pretty well. It's goofy looking, but it is a 4-turbine helicopter with push props, and it can hold 2 containers in here. And and so the way that the ramp system works in here is if you look, it's hard because we have the different colors here, but if you look here, we have this ramp. And so this ramp, you see how it stows in the tail cone, and this both the tail cone and the nose cone open on this. And so the nice thing is this sits in the tail, and you can actually slide it down the rail system all the way to the front, and it can also sit in the front. I see it locks into these. And so what you can do is when you're loading containers, you would lock it in the tail or the nose cone, and it opens up with the door, and the door opens. Let's actually spawn it. And so it's in the tail at the moment. And so what it does is it sits back here. That's locks. Where's my tail? And so see, it sits in the tail like that, which is acting out now because infinite electricity's on. Let me shut infinite electricity off. Okay, and so it sits there so you can load containers in and out. And then if you wanted to load a vehicle, what you do is, that's the wrong button. You close the door, and then you grab this, and where are we at here? I have a lock on one of this tail crane, winch crane. It's right here. So this, I manually can push it, and so now it's on this set of tracks. Well, I can lock it in place. If I remember how to do it. And so you push it to the back here like this. You would lock it. Okay, theoretically, if the friggin' lock button will work. Again, this is an old build. I haven't touched this in forever. You would open the door, and then plug this in. And then you can disconnect these ropes. It's going to act the fool because, is it powered? Okay. Can't hold two ropes at once. So it's supposed to be unpowered anyway. And so this ramp will sit on the ground. Let me unlock it and I can do it. For some reason, this isn't set up. Again, I haven't touched this in forever, so that's why things are misbehaving. And so you lock it like that, and now you see you have a ramp, and I can actually, where are we at here? So I can lower the tail. So you see the tail's coming down to sit. And so now you can ramp in and out. And so now it's easy to get vehicles in there. And so that gives me a little bit of a system that I can easily stow that. And so with that rotating tail section, it makes it very easy for me to also get vehicles in there. So I think that's what I'm aiming for with the VTOL. And so this should be pretty interesting of a build. So I hope you guys enjoy that, and I'll see you in the next one.